Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Are you a survivor of abuse or other trauma? Are you tired of feeling stuck, silent, and stressed all the time? This is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with more inner peace and joy. Are you ready to eliminate suffering from your life and transform from a survivor to thriver? Then congratulations, you are in the right place. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Survivor to Thriver show. In the last episode, I was talking about a very specific strategy that we can use to help us recognize the reality of how the world that we live in, the universe that we live in, is in fact a world, a universe of abundance, and a universe, a world that is grounded in compassion and cooperation and sharing and caring. And the strategy is basically about shifting our perspective, shifting our focus from what we don't have to what we do have, from scarcity to abundance, from the problems that we are facing to the solutions that we can implement using what we do have. So as we shift this perspective, we recognize that, okay, the facts of my life may be whatever they are, and they remain what they are. You know, it's like if I have $0 in my bank account right now, that's a fact. But how I interpret that fact is subjective, and I can choose the perspective that I use to interpret that fact. I can choose the focus. I can choose the lens through which I choose to focus on that fact. I can look at the fact of I have $0 in my bank account right now from a perspective of scarcity or from a perspective of abundance, from a perspective of, this is a problem, or from a perspective of, okay, it is what it is, so what is the solution? That is a choice that we have, and the choice that we make has a causal impact on how we think, and therefore how we feel, and therefore how we behave, and therefore the results that we produce. So just by shifting our perspective, changing our focus in this way, we can bring more abundance in our life. We can increase our awareness of the abundance that surrounds us, and the caring and the compassion and the sharing that is ongoing all around us. Hey, look, no matter what I may be going through right now, I know that I, as Samia Bano, have a lot to be grateful for. I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm eating, I'm walking, I'm talking. There are a lot of people who cannot claim these blessings. There are people who have died already, who have lost their lives, but I'm still alive. I'm breathing. And there are other people who are struggling even just to breathe. My own brother, every night we have to hook him up to a BiPAP machine so that he can breathe properly. Because when we don't hook him up to the machine, because his lungs have been growing weaker and weaker, his blood begins to get poisoned with carbon dioxide because his lungs are too weak to take in enough oxygen and to expel out the carbon dioxide that gets built in our bodies. But I'm able to breathe. And I don't even have to think about it. I'm eating. I'm able to eat. There are many people in this world who are not even able to eat. I'm able to walk and talk. Not everybody in the world is even able to walk and talk. And there's so many other countless blessings that are present in my life. And did these blessings, these gifts, these whatever you want to call them, these resources that I have access to, did all these things emerge in a vacuum? Am I, or did I somehow self-sufficiently, independently generate and create all these blessings in my life? No, I did not. It's like if I'm breathing, if I'm eating, if I'm walking, I'm talking, all of these blessings are present in my life in a context of a world, of a universe that is supporting my life and that is supporting the existence of and the functioning of all of these blessings in my life. So this is also a technique and a perspective that allows me to see that, wow, this is indeed a universe of abundance and a universe of caring and sharing and compassion and collaboration. Because I'm experiencing this reality in my life right now. So that is key strategy number 1. This shift in perspective, this increasing of our gratitude awareness, as you might call it. But it's also very closely linked to a second skill, to the second strategy that I want to talk to you about. See, when we're considering this problem of, okay, is this a world of competition, survival of the fittest, or is this a world where there is true compassion and cooperation and collaboration, which allows life to survive and thrive? If all we do is look for evidence outside of us and then we examine it and we evaluate it from our mind, it's actually very difficult to reach any kind of definitive conclusion. Okay? I mean, this is a question that philosophers and scientists and people of faith and spirituality have been arguing for probably as long as humans have been existing. And those debates will continue to go on. I have made some arguments to for my perspective, right? But again, these arguments are inductive arguments. There's holes, there's gaps in the reasoning process, right? And therefore, and those gaps in the reasoning process are filled by our assumptions, and therefore they are, it's like depends on which assumption you make. You can end up with very different conclusions, and the very different conclusions can seem equally valid and justified, and so on and so forth. So if all we have to depend on is the reasoning and the perspective of our mind, it's very likely that we're going to remain confused or not be able to come to a place of complete confidence in our knowing of the truth of this idea. Like, is this world a world of compassion and abundant cooperation or not? So do we have any other options? Any other ways in which we can determine the truth of this idea or the falsity of this idea? Well, so the mind is one faculty that can help us to know and understand things, but we have other faculties as well, like our heart. Our heart has its own wisdom. So let's connect with our hearts and see what wisdom our heart has to share. Now, remember, we have been talking about love. And as it so happens, love is an area of expertise for the heart. And love says that God will give all the world's happiness to me. Or God will give all the world's happiness to the one I love. How does the heart know this? How does the heart know this? Well, I asked my heart, do you have actually any reasons, for why you believe this to be true? Or is this just an assumption that you're making? And my heart actually had reasons for why it believes this and why it knows this to be true. I was like, awesome. I love that. Because I'm all for understanding and, having my beliefs grounded in reasoning and evidence. I'm not into blind faith. So I just love it that when I checked in with my heart, it had really good, solid reasons. Now, I see that we are almost 15 minutes into the episode today. So I'm going to go ahead, wrap up right here, and I'm going to share the reflections of my heart on this with you next episode. In the meanwhile, please show me some love by going on iTunes and leaving the show a 5-star rating. So until then, until I see you tomorrow, I wish you lots of peace and joy.